Today guys, I'm going to give you a few tips and pointers on how to tell if 11s are fake, specifically bred 11s though. Now at the end of the video, I'm going to show you one specific really cool trick that has never really seemed to fail me, and it's kind of weird. I always ask for pics of this when I'm on eBay or whatever and I'm not using GOAT or StockX, which I do suggest using those sites however. I picked these up from Kixify from a lady, I forget her name, I'm sorry, but she included a receipt, so I had to cop. Speaking of the receipt, the first thing I want to point out is the receipt. Even though some sellers will include the receipt, they're not always real. Like for instance, this receipt right here, you're going to be able to tell it's nice and flimsy, like real receipt paper. However, you don't want it to be like this paper over here. Not like thick, like construction paper or just regular paper. I want it to be actual receipt. I wanted to talk about the label. Personally, I think that they nailed the labels. All fakes really just have it down on point. However, right here on the right side, if it's teared, that's usually a good sign. If it looks like it's stuck to the box, a lot of fakes actually have that. This is another thing that's a good sign. However, don't get your hopes up because fakes are now starting to use the main ones like Foot Locker, Champs, or whatever. But if you see this, it's most likely a good sign. Now moving on to the cover. This is another thing that the fakes have really mastered, not just on bred 11s, but all 11s. There's really just nothing wrong with this. Personally, I cannot tell. You always want to look for that box stamp as well. Not all real pairs will have them, but if you do see this, that is a very good. Moving on to the wrapping paper. On fakes, the wrapping is actually a lot darker and more defined on the writing. However, on real pairs, it's actually more of a faded type look. That's what you want to see, kind of like this. This is another thing I don't even bother checking. If they have them, great. But even if they do, a lot of fakes have just mastered this. Don't even worry about it. Okay, so now moving on to the actual shoe. These are used. I bought them used and I have wore them, so bear with me here, guys. On the shoe, I'll start with the obvious things. First of all, you don't want to see any widow's peaks on the bred 11s, especially on the toe box. Now, things like Legend Blues and Space Jams, the 2016 edition, I have noticed that there are widow's peaks, even on authentic pairs. I don't know if the quality's just getting worse on Jordans, but on bred 11s, they should not have. Okay, so first of all, sorry about the creasing, but another obvious thing that bad fakes might not get right, good fakes usually get it right. The ball should line up with the space between the 2 and the 3. This is something I always check in pictures. It's usually provided with trusted sellers. Just something simple you could check. I'm trying to include every detail possible. Now this is another obvious thing, but believe me, some fakes do get this wrong. Basically, the carbon fiber, you want to make sure it's not plastic. If you have them in hand, you want to rub them, you're going to feel some texture instead of just plastic. In pictures, you're definitely going to be able to tell, at least from really bad carbon fiber, but I wouldn't worry about this. Most fakes get this right anyways. I just wanted to point it out. This is another thing I don't see too often. However, if you see the things connected to the laces on the sides, they're kind of bending a little. You want to see that bend because that means the laces are basically the right size. It's the right tightness. If they're just flat, they're probably fake. Moving on to the midsole, guys. This is something you're only going to be able to tell in person, but it should definitely be super firm. You shouldn't be able to push your finger down on it easily. On fakes, you could actually push right through it. Not through it, but it's very soft. On real pairs, it is firm. Okay, so this is the trick that I'm actually really excited to tell you guys about. Basically, I went to a sneaker con, right? I was about to buy bred 11s. Went to get them authenticated. The guy said they look good, but then he did something. He saw this, and he immediately said they were fake. I'm going to show you exactly what that was, and I always ask for pictures of this when I'm buying off of eBay or whatever. It really never seems to fail me. Trust me on this. Make sure to always ask for pictures of this. Okay, so guys, it is the bottom of the insole. If you could see, it has a few stripes on it. Now, those aren't just regular stripes. Those are actually glue marks. All fake pairs do not have these glue marks, at least the ones that I have seen. Fake pairs, they just slide the sole right in there, and the authenticator saw this and he pointed them out and basically saved my life. Really appreciative for that. I don't know about this blue mark though. I mean, if you see that, it's probably a good sign considering these are real. The guy at SneakerCon didn't talk about this, but it's something that I've seen before. You want the stitching to, first of all, be black. I've seen white stitching actually, but you want it to be angled and very neat. Fakes are actually pretty sloppy on this, so watch out and stay away. Okay, so make sure, guys, that last tip, remember that. Always ask for pictures at the bottom of the sole. Shout out to the guy at SneakerCon who helped me with that. I really suggest you buy off of StockX or GOAT whenever buying any sneaker, just so you make sure they're 100% authentic. Don't ever buy off of Flight Club. Those prices are ridiculous. I don't like what they stand for. Guys, thanks again for watching. Really hope you have a fantastic day.